Hello everyone and welcome back to the Study Noob channel. Today we'll be discussing a new political and even philosophical theory I call Constructivism. Before we get into the more in-depth explanation of what Constructivism is, I'd like to start with the basic definition. Constructivism believes that decisions, foreign policies, and interactions between nations or countries are solely created by social constructs themselves, such as identities, norms, and even shared histories. But most importantly, constructivism's overall theory is based upon the concept of belief itself, or the act of believing. Hold onto your horses and listen up, because we're going to be extra philosophical in this video. Before we get in depth into explaining what constructivism is, we'll start with the fundamentals of state identity itself. When you're asked to define what a state or a country is, you might respond by saying that a state is a community of people under a government. That's the basic Google definition that you can search online anytime. Or maybe you'll answer that a state is a geographical territory located within the world map that you can see physically with your eyes. Or maybe you'll answer that a state is a sovereignty, symbolized by an iconic flag with iconic colors that differentiate itself from another country. Well, none of those answers are actually wrong if we want to answer things in a more simplified, materialistic manner. But when we're talking about the actual fundamental definition and existence of what a state is, that's a whole completely different answer that stretches us back to the golden age of Greek philosophy and Hegelian philosophy. Heraclitus. We start with the progenitor, the beginning. Heraclitus was a philosopher with the belief of change. He perceived reality as an ever-changing concept, just like fire itself. Reality, or humanity's construction, changes over time from one century to another, just like how social constructs such as identities always keeps changing in history itself. It cannot stay stagnant, fixed, or stay the same as time itself progresses. And this change usually occurs through conflicts, wars, revolutions, creative destructions, inevitable movements that are central to the progress of humanity itself, or even the existence of the universe itself. So from the Heraclitus segment, we can see that change itself occurs due to the existence of conflicts, wars, revolutions within a state. But the true question is, what made these events occur in the first place? What made wars, conflicts, revolutions happen? That's the true question, and the true answer is quite simpler than you think. It's just one word: belief. Belief, or collective belief to be exact, is the most powerful and influential social construct known to all mankind. It is the progenitor, the man behind the scenes to all wars, civil wars, conflicts, revolutions, historical materialism. Belief doesn't only associate itself in religions or conspiracy theories with aliens and Bigfoots. Belief is a universal concept that all humans must inhibit to survive and progress society itself. Without belief, humanity won't be able to create modern civilizations and governments that builds paths towards the contemporary era we live in today. Simply, the existence of countries themselves wouldn't exist without the collective belief of its people, of its citizens. You see, when a state is created, it is created by the spiritual collective belief of the people. A state is not a physical thing. A state is an abstract idea that is constructed by its own citizens, by millions and thousands of its people. So if the people themselves stops believing within the state, stops believing that they're, for example, Americans or they're Chinese or Japanese, and they no longer believe that Japan or China or America exists, then boom, there will be no America, there will be no more Japan, and there will be no more China. It'll simply be a plot of land with people within it. That's not a state, that's just a plot of land. Without belief, a state is nothing. But this explanation isn't all within Hegel's philosophy of dialectics. When a belief becomes the source of a nation's identity, it doesn't stay stagnant. It will inevitably change its identity, its norms, its structures, its government, its technology, its ideas, to progress and erase its past contradictions or inconsistencies, to further enlighten itself to the truth. to modernization, to advancements beyond the past itself, such as changing a state's governance from a feudalist state into a more capitalist state, and further on into a more socialist, and ideally into a more communist state. Wait, I know what you're saying. I'm using Karl Marx's historical materialism to explain Hegel's dialectics, which is kind of an opposing thing, right? But here's the thing. Every revolution within Karl Marx's historical progress from a capitalist state to a socialist state into a communist state, those changes occurs because of the belief of the peasants towards the bourgeois, towards the rich. Each and every of their revolutions are constructed by ideas of an uprising, by an idea of equality. These are ideas within the human mind, within the human psychology to fight against the idea of inequality, the idea of exploitation. So guess what? Ideas within states will inevitably change. So historical materialism is based upon Hegel's dialectics. Well, that's all for today. Hopefully you learned something new today. And don't forget to like the video and subscribe. See you next time!